Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the world's largest barbershop museum at Captain Fawcett's HQ, Kings Lynn, Norfolk and Good. Today I want to talk to you about my shaving mug collection, arguably the largest in the world. We have over 500 shaving mugs here, mostly of the Scuttle variety, and these are really not to be confused with a moustache cup, which has a built-in guard to protect your upper lip sweater from any tea or whatever you may be drinking. We'll talk about moustache cups another day, but here we're talking about shaving cups. 1867 was the first patent for a shaving cup, and they've always been built initially on a kind of a coal scuttle. They're known as coal scuttles because it's a very similar shape to the way that works. You'd fill hot water in here. A lot of houses didn't have running hot water in those days. You'd pour your hot water in here. You'd keep your soap. You'd put your brush in, and you'd create your lather and lather your face. Now, as I said, 1867, I suppose they went out of fashion in the 1950s, 1960s. They've been collectible. They have often showing different sites. They may relate to coronations. They may relate to particular seaside resorts or all kinds of things. And latterly they were used for advertising, of course, the Old Spice ones being a great case. So we can have a look at some of these. You can see a present from Wyndham here, a present from Blackpool. We even have one here, which I'm rather proud of, a present from Kings Lynn, which is exactly where we're based. And here we can see the kind of soap that would have sat in that top. Now, really, really interesting. You'd go to the barber shop, and it'd be a bit like going to your own barber shop, very much like going to the pub and having your own pewter tankard. You'd quite often have your own mug and your own soap. And this was because they felt that the people were getting shaving rashes and stuff, and they thought of that maybe some contagious stuff from the soap. In actual fact, it was more to do with the hygiene of the razors, nothing really to do with the soap. So you'd go in there, and you'd say hello to your barber, and he'd recognise you. You'd say hello, Mr. Finney, and he'd get your mug down, and invariably, quite often, your own razor, which would have your name on, and he'd be responsible for looking after these things. So you'd have your own name. Here's one here, P.J. Forbes. Got no idea who that might have been. It's very probably an American mug. Or sometimes you may even have your job description. So it could be, here's a pharmacist one. These are a lot more expensive. I mean, these earlier ones I've described to you here, pick up for £2, £3, £4. They really don't have any great value beyond, of an intrinsic value that they once were somebody's pride and joy. But these ones, of course, are far more expensive. And here's a really beautiful one. It's actually dated. This would be really the end of that period, dated 1941. Quite often, Henry Cole, quite often given as by parents as presents when a boy or a man came of age at 21. So I think some of the most beautiful things we have, and that's what I really find so interesting about shaving collections or ephemera, is that it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the poorest guy, with a bit of broken mirror, having a shave or a shave wallow in a market in Mumbai, or you can be the richest guy in the world and have your manicurist and your barber visit you in your luxurious hotel suite and attend to you every day, a la Al Capone sort of stuff. But so the tools of the trade don't really change. I mean, it's just the quality of the product. So we've seen really cheap mass-produced china. We've seen some really beautifully produced, slightly up the range people's names. But then we come to the stuff like this. This is 1920s when hammered pewter was particularly in vogue. This one's from Liberties. But then look at that. This is solid silver, dated about 1872. The handle is a whipped rattan, and in here there's a little bit, I would suspect, a little bit of a stingray tail just in there, just to decorate. I mean, it's a work of art. But this one even takes that a step further. This has all been hand tooled. This is about 1865, this one, and just look at it. it's taken somebody weeks, if not months, to actually to create that. And I mean, how practicable that would be, I don't know. But these have been handed down from generation to generation, and something like this cost you around about maybe £500 to £600. I think the pièce de la résistance in our collection, though, is we actually have solid silver Captain Fawcett's very own mug. I'm very, very proud to have that here. If you ever happen to be anywhere near Norfolk, please do drop in post-pandemic and visit us. I'd be delighted to show you around. Thank you very much for visiting.